Hi, I'm Dakota from Washington. Before I tell you my crazy story, please like and subscribe. My mom was a nurse at a kids' hospital and worked really odd hours. Since she was bringing me up alone, we stayed at the hospital in a small room, and I was obsessed with all the rich kids who came there. I hardly had any luxuries, and when kids in the hospital got gifts during festivals, all I got were hand-me-downs, and I hated it. So one Christmas, I decided to get even.
Did you know that the hospital has a Christmas Eve ghost who only targets kids with really expensive things?
You're just making that up.
Really? Try sleeping with your gifts tonight in your room and see what happens.
And later that night, I snuck into their rooms and made the creepiest sounds. And the next morning, all the kids freaked out and had thrown out their presents. They even called their parents to get moved to another place immediately. And Mom almost got fired. She was pissed at me for days. But at least I was able to sneak a pretty sweater from the pile of gifts for myself. One day, I even wore it to school thinking I looked amazing. But sadly, being a nobody meant no one noticed me, except for my bestie Mariah.
That's a cute sweater. I know! What does one have to do to get noticed around here?
Growing up, I learned that being rich was the answer to everything. People noticed you, they were kinder, and life was better. But Mom thought otherwise. Money and fame only favors those who work hard.
What are you talking about? The Kardashians didn't work hard, and they have everything.
That's because they belong to a popular family. You don't. Mom was right. If I wanted to be rich, I had to start hanging out with the popular crowd. My first target was Kenzie, the cheer captain, and the most popular girl in school.
Kenzie doesn't even know you exist. Besides, she's so snooty. Why would you want to be friends with her?
Duh, she's a queen. Have you seen the parties she throws for her girl gang? I just need to work my charm. Watch this. Hey, Kenzie, do you mind if I borrow your, I was mid-sentence when Kenzie simply walked off, like I was invisible. Wow, that was painful to watch. Whatever, she had her earphones on. Over the next few weeks, I tried everything to get Kenzie to notice me. I laughed a little too hard at her dumb jokes and came early to school so I could grab a seat next to her. My efforts paid off when one day in 12th grade, the teacher gave us our test results. OMG, my dad's gonna kill me. I got a D again. That's not so bad. Besides, D stands for diva, and that's what you are. D also stands for dumb bimbo. What did you just say? Just ignore her. You deserve better, Kenzie, and I can help. You see, I'm kind of a genius, so let me take care of your homework. You are? Oh, and you got an A? Okay, I trust you. And just like that, I was in. Kenzie and her friends were sweethearts and really needed me to help them out with their homework. They even trusted me to pick their lunches and grab their morning lattes. There you go, Kenzie. Your oat milk latte with just a dash of coconut sugar, an extra shot of espresso, hazelnut sauce, and vegan ice cream. Just how you like it. Oh, you're a darling, Minnesota. Dakota. But Kenzie just walked away sipping her weird coffee. What are you doing? Kenzie has you wrapped around her fingers like some errand girl. What's next? You'll clean her shoes and wash her bathroom? Oh, come on. She needs my help. And no good deed goes unnoticed. Mariah didn't agree with me, but I didn't care. I was with the popular crowd, but I still wasn't as famous as them until one day during lunch, something unbelievable happened. OMG, someone help him! I looked across the room to see Isaac, the new guy in school, and a famous singer, choking. I'd seen my mom at work sometimes perform a Heimlich maneuver, so I jumped into action.
Oh my God, you saved my life. What's your name?
I'm Dakota.
Wow, thanks Dakota. Join us.
It's cool, actually. I'll just have lunch with my friend right there.
Get her too.
Mariah gave me a death stare as I reluctantly pulled up a chair next to Isaac. But just when Mariah was about to sit down, Kenzie kicked the chair out from under her. Oops, sorry. I was just stretching. You totally did that on purpose. Mariah, relax. I'm sure it was just an honest mistake. It's fine, Kenzie. We were just leaving anyway. After that day, Isaac started inviting Mariah and me over to his table daily. And slowly, we became part of the elite circle at school. That's when people actually started noticing me. I could tell Kenzie was a bit weird about it, especially when Isaac invited me to one of his parties, which was amazing. I was dressed in my most expensive outfit, but I still felt shabby. I was just admiring the place when I ran into Kenzie. Kenzie, hi. I'm sorry, I wasn't looking. Maybe you weren't looking in the mirror when you dressed like that. Anyway, you're here now. Go get me some punch or something.
Don't listen to her, Dakota. You look just fine. And get your own drink, Kenzie.
Isaac pulled me away and introduced me to the rest of his friends before slipping into the backyard.
I never really thanked you for saving my life. I'm surprised at how strong you are. Like Lady Hulk. Most girls I meet are super delicate, but you're as strong as a horse.
Did he just call me manly? Before I could reply, I suddenly tripped over a rock, but Isaac saved me just in time. I could feel my heart racing as he held onto my waist. And the next thing I knew, we were surrounded by 100 photographers going crazy. Isaac pulled me into his limo and his driver fled the scene. On the drive to my house, pictures of Isaac and me together started flooding my phone. What the heck is happening? These paparazzi are calling me your girlfriend.
I know this is crazy, but please don't tell anyone we aren't dating.
What? Why?
Maybe you've heard about me and Lucy?
Two of the hottest young pop stars having a super messy breakup? Yeah, hard to miss that one.
The truth is, I'm still not over her. If people think you and I are a couple, Lucy will surely notice, and maybe she'll rethink our breakup.
That's lying.
Technically, it's like hiding the truth.
Your fans pick apart everything about your life. Faking a relationship will be tough.
I know, but try. I have a feeling you're good at it.
I didn't want to trick people, but being with Isaac would change my life. Besides, there were worse things in the world than fake dating a pop sensation, right? News about me dating Isaac spread like wildfire, and the next day at school, people were treating me like an A-grade celebrity. Dakota, bestie, oh, you look amazing. Really? That's a first. OMG, you're so funny. I was wondering if you'd like to go shopping with me. I'm sure you need to upgrade your wardrobe, right? I can help you. Yeah, sounds good. My life had taken a whole 180-degree turn, and I was loving everything about it, except that being Queen Bee was a full-time job, and I didn't have time to hang out with Mariah anymore. I have to go shopping. My wardrobe is on life support. Tomorrow, then? Actually, I have to attend a show with Isaac. So now what? We're not friends anymore because you're famous? Don't be silly. How about we hang out the day after? Fine, but don't be late. I really need to talk to you. But the next day after his show, Isaac told me that we had an interview scheduled at the same time as my plan with Mariah. But I can't. I promised Mariah I'd hang out with her.
Oh, come on. It's for the Rolling Stones. And I'll drop you off after, okay?
I agreed, and kinda had the best time. They asked me questions about my life, and I felt super important. But then my eyes fell on my watch, and I freaked out. I was so late. I immediately rushed to Mariah's place, but she refused to see me. So the next day, I stopped her while she was leaving for school. What now? I'm sorry. I was with Isaac and Isaac. It's like you've joined a lame girl cult. Oh, so annoying. This boy has changed you completely. Look at your clothes, and what's with those stupid curls? You think if you do this, he'll notice you more? He's shallow, just like all of them. And guys like him don't fall for girls like us. Listen, I'm sorry I blew you off yesterday, but it was important. And if you don't like my clothes or my makeup, there's a better way to say it than being an absolute witch about it. I don't even know you anymore. Oh yeah? That's what happens when you don't hang out with your real friends. It's called growing up, Mariah. Maybe you should try it too. I instantly regretted my words, but I was so mad at Mariah for being a baby. After that day, we drifted apart and completely ignored each other at school. I missed having her around and thought about telling her that I was only fake dating Isaac, but I knew she'd judge me for it, so I kept quiet. Time passed and Isaac and I got closer. Eventually, I started liking him, and sometimes I thought he liked me too. And it wasn't just an act. But one day, Isaac asked me to accompany him to a tattoo parlor, saying it was something important. When we got there, he rolled up his sleeve to reveal a tattoo with a girl's face that looked like his ex-girlfriend Lucy. And for some reason, I felt a bit jealous. He got a tattoo for her?
Removing it was more painful than when I got the tattoo.
Well, why did you remove it then? I mean, you're obviously trying to get back with Lucy, so you should have just kept it.
That wasn't Lucy. I got it in memory of my childhood bestie who was in an accident many years ago. I miss her, but looking at it every day just makes me feel weird. You know what I mean?
A week later, at a huge concert, Isaac did something unbelievable. In the middle of his performance, with hundreds of screaming fans, he pulled me on the stage and shoved a mic in my hand.
Isaac, what are you doing?
Just sing along. I tried to sing, but I croaked like a frog. This was the first time ever I was in front of so many people, and I froze. The fans started booing and laughing, and I dropped the mic and ran off the stage. Isaac caught up with me after that. Why would you do that? It was so embarrassing. I'm a national laughing stock.
You're supposed to be my girlfriend. How can you not know the lyrics? Now come on, don't make a big deal out of this.
I'm your fake girlfriend, and it is a big deal. I don't want people to think I'm a fool. You know what? This whole thing was a mistake. I'm leaving. I was so embarrassed, I couldn't sleep a wink that night. The entire weekend, my phone kept buzzing with messages and calls from unknown numbers. I couldn't answer them, not now, after being a public joke. When I went to school a few days later, I could feel all eyes on me. Just then, a bunch of media people surrounded me.
How does it feel to lose your boyfriend and self-respect?
Did Isaac only date you out of charity? They were brutal. This wasn't the kind of fame I had in mind. I turned around to leave, but Kenzie stopped me. I always thought Isaac was too good for a nobody like you. And obviously, your embarrassing stunt sent him running back to Lucy. She flashed her phone in my face with a picture of Isaac and his ex-girlfriend Lucy in some fancy restaurant. I felt betrayed and miserable. But what was I expecting? We were never in a real relationship. Aw, are you crying? Shut up, Kenzie. I turned around to see Mariah behind me. You guys are back together. Now that's a happy ending you deserve. And I think you deserve a makeover. Ah, my limited edition Prada! Kenzie screamed and stormed off as I turned to Mariah. I'm sorry, Mariah. I was a total idiot for choosing them over you. That's true. One real friendship is better than fake dating a shallow celebrity. You knew? Of course I knew. We're BFFs. I know when you're lying. Why didn't you say anything? I could have used my best friend. I thought you didn't need me anymore. And I had my own issues to deal with. That's when she told me her parents had let her know recently that they were getting divorced. Mariah, I am so sorry I wasn't there. You're here now, so let's forget everything and move on. I'd love that. Mariah and I made up, and she helped me get back on track with my studies. Isaac tried reaching out to me a few times, but I wasn't ready to get dragged into another mess, so I kept my distance. And a few days later, he left for his global tour. I decided I'd follow in my mom's footsteps and become a nurse once high school was over. I was done with this whole idea of being rich and popular. Fame really wasn't as great as it looked. One day, I was helping Mom with something when all of the kids at the hospital started screaming in excitement. I went outside to see what the deal was, and I was stunned to find Isaac. What are you doing here?
You weren't answering my calls.
Why should I? You embarrassed the heck out of me and dumped me the next day. That was so shallow of you.
You were the shallow one who was dying to please Kenzie. You agreed to date me to show off and used me as a tool. But look at what you did. I'm in love with you now, and you don't even care.
Of course I do. Hold up. You love me? Then what about Lucy? I saw your pictures.
I met Lucy that day to tell her that I'm finally over her because I love you, dummy, just as you are. Kind and smart. Wasn't it obvious?
Nope. You should have said something.
In case you haven't noticed, I suck at expressing my feelings. So, you think we can give us a real shot?
Maybe, but I can't be in the spotlight again.
I promise. So, dinner tonight?
As long as it's not chicken. Hi everyone, I'm Billy. Yeah, just like Billie Eilish, but not famous. Welcome to my second home, the hospital. If you want to know why I live here, please like and subscribe. Growing up in Canada, I was always in awe of how beautiful the country was, besides the freezing cold and constant snow. But Mom and Dad loved to travel. That's why before I turned 10, I had already been to 5 different countries. One time, when we were at the Met Museum in New York, I had the worst stomach pain. My stomach burned and I couldn't walk. Mom, Dad, it hurts. They rushed me to the hospital, and throughout the day, they tried to calm me because I was so scared.
Honey, you're gonna be fine. Don't worry, we're here. She must be in so much pain. Look at how much she's sweating. My poor baby.
And then it all went blank. When I woke up, I found Mom and Dad talking to the doctor. What the doctor said left me wishing I didn't hear it. I was diagnosed with Crohn's on my 14th birthday.
Crohn's is when your bowels are inflamed and can cause severe stomachache and may also require surgery at times.
My parents did everything they could to cheer me up, but I was angry at everything. Even though I knew they were struggling financially and were very stressed, I couldn't help it. I was rude to the nurses and even snapped at my parents. One day, however, I had snapped to the point that I threw a bowl of custard at the door right behind the nurse. That's so disgusting! Who eats food like that?
Billy, that's no way to behave. They're trying to help you.
I don't want anyone's help. None of you understand how much pain I'm in or what it's like to be stuck in here. It would be an understatement to say my parents were shocked at how much my behavior had changed. I hated everything about my life. I was away from my friends, stuck at the hospital eating tasteless food, and worst of all, my condition got worse. When I turned 15, I had to get a stoma temporarily, which is kind of gross and you don't need to know the details, except that I had several questions for my doctor. Will it stink? Is it safe? It won't cause an infection, right?
Honey, give the doctor a chance to answer.
Because of the surgery, I had to stay in the hospital for a couple of months so I could be monitored. The pain was getting worse, and I hated being at the hospital at first. One day, I walked out of my room because I couldn't sleep. That's when I heard someone crying. I walked towards the sound and saw it was Mom, and Dad was trying to calm her down.
I don't know how to help her. She's so upset here, and the bills will keep getting higher. What do we do? We will continue to be happy around her. She will be irritated, but if we stay happy, maybe she'll feel more hopeful.
I felt like the biggest jerk. My parents were struggling, and I had no idea because they were trying so hard to make me happy, make me feel like a normal teenager. That was when I decided to repay the favor and make them feel better about everything. But the only way I could do that right now was to be happy, or pretend to be, even if I'm not. So, to make my parents feel better, I sucked it up and decided to stay happy. I read somewhere that having a positive mindset helps heal faster, and that is exactly what I did. I decorated my room with pictures of friends and family, every trip we went on, and so much more. Billy, I love what you've done with your room. It's so pretty, honey. Thank you so much. I was cut off by some guy yelling and a nurse crossing my room wiping her tears. The nurse told me that there was a new guy down the hall, and he was always angry. I knew how he felt, and I realized what a horrible person I had been to my nurses before. I knew just how to fix his mood. I wanted to do something for him, to get him to smile, but he wouldn't leave his room. All he did was yell at everyone who spoke to him. I had had enough. So one day, when he was taken out by the nurse to run some tests, finally I had my chance. So I rushed into his room to prepare my surprise. I decorated it just like mine. I think better than that, because by the time I was done, it looked like a unicorn threw up a rainbow in there. And wow, when he saw the room, the expression on his face was priceless.
You, what have you done?
Oh shoot. I ran away from him, but to my horror, he was running after me too. He only stopped when I did, and he began yelling at me and telling me how irritated he was. But you've got to admit, this is probably the most fun you've had in the past couple of days.
You're very annoying. Stay out of my room. I hate hospitals.
Rude. Since that day, I steered clear of the guy, whose name I learned was Steel. Silly name. And he seems to get bent out of shape much easier than his name suggests. He stayed away from me too. And every time he saw me, he would glare and walk the opposite way. One day, one of the nurses came to check up on me. She told me how bad she felt for Steel. Why would you feel bad for him? He's so rude. Oh, sweetie, who wouldn't be? It was his birthday last week. He was so excited to see his friends, but none of them showed up, even after they promised him. And his parents had to work. Poor guy. Oh, shoot. Now even I felt bad for him. My parents helped me get him a cake. I didn't want to go to his room after he asked me not to, so I asked a nurse to bring it with a note. Happy birthday, jerk boy, from the sick girl down the hall. 5 minutes later, I saw someone's shadow under my door, walking up and down the hallway. And then I heard a knock.
Hey, sick girl. What do you do when you can't sleep?
Wow, took you 6 rounds up and down the hallway to ask me that? Just stare at the stars, I guess. He just rolled his eyes at me. I brushed past him and dragged him with me to my favorite spot. We went to the courtyard and sat on the bench looking at the stars.
I'm sorry. It's just that I hate missing out on everything. Why do I have to be sick? Why can't I just have a life like every other kid my age? It's just not fair.
I was like that too at the beginning. But then I realized how much my parents continue to do for me, and what I'm trying to say is, you shouldn't just pay attention to what you don't have. I mean, look, you got to meet an amazing person like me right here. You really couldn't have asked for anything better.
How are you this positive? How do you distract yourself from all this pain and stuff?
If you wait to be happy until everything is fine, you'll waste your whole life. So, I gave myself a purpose, a mission.
What mission?
I haven't told anyone before.
Oh, well, you don't have to tell me.
No, it's okay. I need motivation to work harder on it. So here goes. I'm starting a foundation dedicated to help parents of kids who are sick, so they don't have to worry about bills.
Wow, that's actually pretty amazing. I can help if you want, and would love to join for real once it's up and running.
Yes, I need all the help I can get. Pretty soon, the both of us began hanging out often and working on plans and ideas for the foundation. I would spend all day in his room and he would at mine. We even introduced our parents to each other. It was nice to finally have someone close to my age to talk to, who understands exactly what it's like to have a condition. One evening, a couple of weeks after my stoma surgery, Steele came up to my room.
Want a change of view?
What did you have in mind? I followed Steele out, and he helped me walk by holding onto my hand and my waist. My face was turning red as a beet, and my heart was hammering in my chest. Was this what a crush felt like? He led me to the cafeteria, and my jaw dropped. He had set up a beautiful candlelight dinner. Whoa, Steele, I didn't know you were such a sap. Why?
All you do is work to help other people. You deserve something just for you.
Thank you. This is so beautiful. He led me to the table and it was all set up. The food was still steaming. Steele even pulled out the chair for me to sit first. What a gentleman.
You know, even before I was sick, I wasn't very nice. I was rude, angry, and took everything for granted. And then I met you. I didn't know anyone could be so fun and positive while things aren't going the way they want. As much as I hate the hospital, I'm glad I'm here.
It was so sweet, but then he leaned in to kiss me. I put my hands against his chest. Steele, we can't kiss. You could get sick. The look on his face broke my heart. So I held his hand in mine instead, and he smiled. The next day, I woke up with the biggest smile. Yesterday was like a dream come true, a fairy tale. Just then, the doctor and my parents walked in to talk to me.
Honey, guess what? You get to go home, finally!
What?
You're all good now. You'll just have to come for a checkup in a few months, but other than that, you're fine. You can leave here today. Isn't that great, sweetheart?
It is. It's amazing. While Mom and Dad were taking care of all the last-minute paperwork, I walked over to Steele's room. He gave me the tightest hug as soon as he saw me. Steele, I have some news. I'm being discharged today. I leave in a couple of hours.
That's great news, Billy. Why aren't you excited about it?
Because once I leave, I won't be able to visit you. I'll be moving back to Canada.
Oh, is there no way you could visit?
I don't think so. I can try though. But Steele, is it fine if I just leave like that?
Hey. No, you don't have to ask me. I'll be completely fine. I'm just so happy you're finally getting out of the hospital, completely healthy. And I promise you, I won't go back to being a grumpy jerk boy. I'll make sure I make every moment count, just like you did.
I spent the rest of my time there with Steele until my parents came to get me. We promised to stay in touch. For the first few months, I thought every other person I saw on the street was Steele.
Everywhere I looked, there he was. I felt like Cupid had hit me with a bucket of love with Steele's name on it, but I pushed it aside. There was nothing I could do. As the years passed, life got in the way, and eventually, we both lost touch with each other. I got extremely busy with completing high school, trying to get into a university, and with the foundation. I put all of my focus on getting it open. After organizing talent shows and competitions as fundraisers and to get some awareness on it, I got some attention and eventually got to meet the CEOs of the biggest organizations who wanted to help me out with my own foundation. But I was in for a shock when I spoke to them. So, from all the donations and money you make, we will get 40% of the cut, and you can decide how much you want to keep and give the rest to the families.
I'm sorry, but did you just suggest that you and I take the majority of the money that is supposed to go to struggling families?
Of course, I don't agree.